Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's time for yet more Heart of the Swarm action with WhiteRa up 2-0. Woo! You know, Rotterdam, I gotta say the Oracles are an extremely clever design, because even though they rip down those workers so quickly, once they're low on energy, they're basically the most expensive paperweight in the game.
That is true, that is true. But still, that DPS seemed pretty good. I kind of liked it.
It strikes me that you have a lot of endorphins in your body, Rotterdam.
Yes. I'm just a very happy person if I see beautiful things.
Next map is going to be a very popular one, Daybreak.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how Heart of the Swarm match PvZ is going to play out on Daybreak.
Yeah.
That has to change up quite a bit. I mean, actually, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I got quite tired of PvZ on Daybreak, because out of all the things that you just mentioned earlier, that Wings of Liberty, we saw a lot of the same PvZs. If there's one map in particular that goes for it, it has to be Daybreak. Yeah,
I mean, Daybreak is probably the most researched map in the game. And now all of a sudden, we're going to get to see these brand new units on it. So let's go ahead and hop right on in and introduce a little bit of our players. Currently spawning up in the top right corner. From Team Liquid, it is Rhett. And the man who said many, many moons ago that he was a purveyor of special tactics, and he has used it twice now to take the lead in the series 2-0. It is WhiteRa.
And you know, Sean, one of the many things that I'm so excited for the Heart of the Swarm release for as well is that I always feel that when a new game gets released, or in this case an expansion set which is going to change the game so much, you're really going to see those creative players shine in the first months of the game. Like, think about a player like Nama, for instance. You casted him back then in that very first DreamHack. Nama was amazing because he was just doing stuff different than the rest. He had his own gameplay or game style, and people didn't really know how to deal with it. And WhiteRa is, of course, someone who really excels in that as well. He loves to pull out those special tactics, as he likes to say, or just does any crazy stuff. And I really think that whenever a game is new, everyone is just kind of still finding their way around it. That's really gonna reward those creative players, and I always think that's super fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like such a good point that there's a lot of players who are excellent mimics and excellent at examining a build order at a really, really, really micro level. The player who knows, okay, I have to pull one guy out of gas now and then put it back in, and if I do that, I can sneak out an extra tech lab. Those kinds of players. But it's almost daunting for so many people to be suddenly in a situation where you don't really know. You actually have no idea. You have no guidance. There's no one you can copy. There's no GSL that you can tune into in the evening, which you should totally do because my brother's awesome. And,
yeah. Could not agree more. Artosis is pretty cool too, though.
Artosis, oh God, Artosis, what a gorgeous, brilliant human. Yes. I was probably talking about something. Oh, yeah, I remember. But there's no template. WhiteRa is just figuring out these build orders on his own and having a lot of joy doing it.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. I cannot wait for it. Of course, the game is coming out in March, I believe the 12th of March, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be so awesome. I'm so excited. I do hope that we're going to see, I wouldn't want to say that Red played poor the first two games, but in game one he made a couple of pretty obvious mistakes, I think. His strategy, nice warp in there by WhiteRa, just on the final moment, buying himself those additional seconds to get that cannon up. I think in game number one, he just shouldn't have made that attack against that third Nexus because of the way the Mothership Core is designed. And Protoss is stronger in that phase of the game. And in game number two, he missed the scout. He did try, though. He did sacrifice one Overlord. He peeked in with the second one. He just did not see those targets in the back of WhiteRa's base.
Well, it's one of those interesting things where, sure, we're seeing the strength of the new units, like the Oracle in game two, but we're also seeing some of the trappings that can happen when you, I guess I'd just say, overvalue what's happening. Fast Hydralisks still are only as strong as Wings of Liberty Hydralisks. They can just run away and regroup a little bit better. And we see Rhett going for a timing attack, and if you looked at it, it was about 8 Roaches and about 10 Hydras and some Lings. You'd almost never make that attack in Wings of Liberty. So I think Rhett may be getting himself a little bit over-eager. In Game 1, he managed to hold on quite a bit longer because he was relying more on his standard tried-and-true opening. It's such a mistake to get too over-eager with new things. With the exception of the Oracle, get over-eager with the Oracle.
Go all out, guys. Don't hold back. Make as many as you can. WhiteRa has one idle probe over here as well, and it's natural. I really think that players, as I said before, still have to get used to this new interface. I do like what we're seeing over here from WhiteRa. This is, like, of course, awesome. In Wings of Liberty, you always have to box your probes. It's like, do I have exactly 16 probes?
Yeah.
Because that's the moment when you want to start rallying probes to your natural. Now in Harder the Swarm, that's a little bit easier, but I also feel that's one of the very, very few things that's going to be easier in Harder the Swarm. I feel, other than that, Harder the Swarm is really going to reward the better players, certainly with all those changes that were made to Terran, because Terran suddenly became a super exciting race to watch. I cannot wait to see just those really quick Terrans multitask with the speed medevacs, out-racing oracles left and right. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Reapers blink now. Their speed is now faster than a Mutalisk. Their acceleration is ridiculous, so just real thrilling to watch. Hopefully we'll get to see a lot of Reapers in that upcoming Heart of the Swarm free-for-all.
This is something we've seen WhiteRa do in the past as well, even on Daybreak. He was one of those crazy pros. I remember casting a game with Bitter where he went to up to 3 bases in like 6 minutes and 30 seconds, and we started to scream. We're like, that's not possible!
Yes, Oracles!
And this is Heart of the Swarm.
Oh, man.
Poor Rat, man. He just can't catch a break. He just can't. He's not able to scout anything.
Well, I mean, he's trying to poke in there with the Overlord. It's kind of standard not to be able to see tech a good bit of the time, but I'm so thrilled about these very fast Mothership Core openings. Even against Terran, we're seeing players go Zealot, expand Mothership Core, Robo-Bay tech straight to Colossus. Why? Because you can easily throw down that Purify, or excuse me, the Photon Overcharge upgrade.
WhiteRa was not satisfied with 29 drones, so he wants to get a few more right now. He's going to research +1.
Remember, don't get over-eager with Hydras. Get over-eager with Oracles. Change your race today. And there we see Zerglings from Rhett sweeping in. His layer tech is now done, and it looks like he's pulling back a little bit, going for the Infestation Pit.
This is much more standard Rhett. He's going to run around with these links. There are 2 cannons over here, and a Zealot and a Stalker, so WhiteRa's more than fine. Oh, Rhett trying to pick off a few probes. It's not going to work, though. Man, it feels so safe for a Protoss to go up to 3 bases. Normally you'd say this is ridiculously quick. Then certainly when you also think about the fact that he's actually making 2 Stargates. Well, WhiteRa right now taking quite a bit of damage, losing these units rather carelessly. I don't think he had to do that. But this is something normally, Sean, if we would see this in Wings of Liberty, we'd say this is like stupid, this is suicide. You can never go double Stargate and a 7-minute 3 bases Protoss. Well, here you can.
Well, voila. And oh no, Rhett is researching the Locust upgrade. He actually is going to have almost no anti-air. He must build Spores and Queens, or we're going to see a very swift 3-0, a dominating performance by WhiteRa. And this goes to show, no matter how exciting it is to do something like, you know, mass up Locusts, mass swarm host, and rush for the Viper, practice makes perfect, and we're seeing WhiteRa with some phenomenal timings, and the fear is now in Rhett's eyes.
2 Void Rays are going to follow up as well. Rhett immediately dropping some Spore Crawlers left and right, but I'm still quite afraid that he's going to lose a lot of drones, Sean.
I'm following the Void Rays. Or excuse me, I'm following the Oracles and looking at nothing else. Where are the drones? They've run.
They're coming.
Wow, the energy, though, is draining so quickly. The Oracles are actually almost dead broke, and now we're seeing Zerglings sweep up to the 3rd base.
There are no drones anywhere.
Oh, get out of there, drones. No. And meanwhile, at the 3rd base, we're seeing Zerglings overrun. Rhett has only lost 7 drones. Liquid Rhett storming the front and knows exactly what he's up against.
So the only way to deal with the Oracles is to make sure that you have no units around it.
Stop giving Reddit fodder. They should call it Heart of the Oracle. 1 week later, they should call it Heart of the Swarm Host. And everyone's like, oh man, what will it be next patch? Swarm Host Burrow?
So the Oracle can go all the way up to 200 energy?
Well, this is actually kind of problematic, because now that there's no Energize on the Mothership Core, you actually do just have to pull back and play hyper defensively. And it looks like WhiteRa is doing exactly that. I mean, he has these Void Rays doing a little bit of damage.
Special tactics.
Oh, Rotterdam. Void Rays with the Photon overcharge. Or Prismatic Alignment. They keep changing the names. I'm just going to say things that sound Protoss-like, and it's probably accurate.
Both of these queens will fall, and these two Void Rays will survive. Red does not have any other defenses, as far as I know. He still has 2 queens on the map, but uh-oh. Here they come.
Well, looks like... Yeah, it really looks like Red is just going to have to abandon ship on this base. I don't like this decision to go into Pulsar Beam mode for these Oracles.
No, he probably could have saved his energy.
Yeah, he actually downed a ton of energy.
80 drones though, but I think it's about time that he's either going to drop a Spire or, as we see right now, he's going to produce lots of Hydralisks. For the first time in this Heart of the Swarm show match though, we are going to see the Tempest join in the battlefield.
Get out of there. Oh, the Swarm host, so vulnerable. Again, we're seeing Ret get way too over-aggressive with Wings of Heart of the Swarm units.
Yeah, Ret is just... I mean, Red's strategies are not wrong, but it's wrong against what he's playing, like what he's playing against. And he's just not able to scout WhiteRa. He sacrificed 2 Overlords early on. He's probably feeling I can hardly sacrifice 3. Still did not see the Stargates. Went for the Swarm host once more. And Swarm hosts are pretty damn good against pretty much every single gateway opening. And even against Robo builds, like against Colossus, it can still be tough to deal with the Swarm host. Just obviously Swarm host against the Oracles in the current state is not very good.
And here comes the huge air attack with the Mothership Core. He can recall now, and there we see the Oracles going into that Pulsar Beam mode, ripping everything down so quickly.
Core.
Oh, he needs to target the Mothership Core so he can't recall.
Oh, so close.
Oh, that was absolutely terrifying. But Zergling's sweep in. Ret is keeping up the pressure. He's looking excellent on the offensive, and we see 2 more bases going down for Liquid Ret. He is going expand happy, and this is a big signal for Ret. I mean, seeing Zealots without upgrades is an indicator that there's air, and seeing 12 Void Rays is also an indicator that the opponent's going air.
And seeing weird purple beams being shot at your Zerglings also gives away something. Oracle did fall to these Hydralisks, but now we can see there are 5 Tempests out on the map already. And we have a couple of carriers on the way as well. Oh, the new and improved carrier.
I can even see WhiteRa streaming this at home. Furrowed brow, slight grin, building carriers.
Let's say special tactics.
Tactiques Especial, and it looks like the Graviton catapult that. Man, extra fast deployment for the carrier is coming out. Now these Tempests are a nice defensive tool. They fire quite slowly, but they have phenomenal range. And Ret's going to have a difficult time getting any reasonable angle at all here. Look at this sweet defensive setup that we see WhiteRa having. This high ground area is normally where you plant Vikings as Terran to try to pick off things like Colossus, but we're seeing same defensive mindset from WhiteRa.
Well, Red is really going to try to push the issue right now. He knows if this just goes on, these Tempests are going to get too many free shots up, so he's just going to go for it right now. He still has a lot of Hydralisks, but the count is dwindling though. He has 27 Hydras on the map. Oh, I think WhiteRa perhaps getting a little over eager now.
Well, now it looks like WhiteRa is going to have to drill through this. The units, even with the speed upgrade, are just not quite fast enough, and Ret has plummeted from a max army down to 120, and there the Mothership Core going into detection mode. The air toss is looking oh so strong.
Sky toss. Who could have ever thought in PvZ? 4 more carries on the way.
Wow.
WhiteRa has been extremely rich throughout this entire game. He has 84 probes, and yes, he might have lost his Nexus for a little while. Other than that, he never really suffered severe economic damage. As we see that Red killed 6 probes throughout the entire game, but he tried a lot. He went for a lot of run-bys, put on some serious pressure, went with the Swarmos as well, but WhiteRa just never took any economic damage, and that's why he's able to pull off this crazy stuff. I mean, Red might have only lost 6 or 7 drones in the start. We also shouldn't forget that he was not mining from 2 bases for a good 30 seconds. That cost quite a bit of money as well.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Just to think about the fact that how different Heart of the Swarm is back then to now. Blizzard just went in so many different directions, did so many tests, and here they have gifted us with a completely solid Oracle, WhiteRa, Carrier, Tempest army, and still with the ability to warp in, we're seeing WhiteRa doing harassment at extraneous bases. It looks like we're now seeing the Infestor Hydralisk army.
The death animation of the Zealots, so cool. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was actually kick-ass.
Totally different. WhiteRa is about to max out on 3-3 air units, as he also went double cybernetics core over here. Gets a couple of cannons. This is a pretty terrifying army. The only thing that was missing was a couple of High Templars with Storm. And we actually don't see him upgrade the Mothership core, right? He still has the Mothership core. He could just go for the real Mothership if he wants to.
No reason to go for a Mothership core, or for regular Mothership, when you can use your good old Mothership core for constant defense, throw down that Photon overcharge, and it looks like Rhett really wants to go for another attack. Again, I feel this is a slight bit over eager, but at the same time, hiving up behind it, spiring up behind it, trying to find a good attack angle, leading with those changelings. Can he get at a good angle? Oh my god, these Hydralisks are dying so fast. I mean,
I'm kind of speechless, actually. I'm just looking at this army. We're going to see another Ling run by over here by Red. But WhiteRa is just building up an incredibly strong army, in which I don't really see how Red's going to be able to deal with it, unless he's just going to be able to produce 60 to 70 Corruptors. Just like shoot everything like one shot. Because look at this army, Sean. How do you kill this army?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny, because, you know, I watch a ton of StarCraft. A lot, not just at events, but also, you know, especially in preparation for every daily. I watch a lot, so that way, in a spot like this, I can say useful things. But at this point in time, I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, that's, I mean, Rhett, ouch, ooh, gross. Wow, I don't want to be Rhett right now. That's.
And that's the first time in your life.
But unfortunately for Rhett, he is Rhett right now, and this is coming straight to his 5th base. He needs absolutely immaculate fungal growth. Hydralisk stepping in. Unit loss tab is open for me.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Like, nothing is even taking any damage. These carriers are still full on HP. The Tempest behind it.
WhiteRa is basically treating this like Photoshop. He's highlighting Hydralisks and is like, delete this whole layer. I don't need this at all. Liquid Rhett losing his expansion in the bottom right to a Zealot warp in an attempted Ling counterattack, but Rhett just doesn't have the experience. WhiteRa has been playing tons of Heart of the Swarm, and that practice is showing. Look at this magnificent army of death.
Beautiful play by WhiteRa. Really, really cool stuff that he's showing us over here in this Heart of the Swarm ShowMatch. Really playing sort of 3 different playstyles. In the first game, using that new cheap Dark Shrine, really entertaining to see what you're able to do with that as a Protoss player, how you're able to get away with builds that normally you wouldn't be able to get away with. And in game 2 and 3, he showed us that if you love Protoss, you definitely want to make Oracles right now.
And Rhett even says, nice play style, man. A 3-0 win for WhiteRa. You know, nothing, I think, is as pleasing to see WhiteRa perform absolutely amazingly after having so many recent struggles.
Yeah, this is awesome, man. And once more, I really think that in the first months of Heart of the Swarm, that WhiteRa is going to be that top player once more that he was in the early days of Wings of Liberty, or not even just the early days, for more than a year, I'd almost say, placing high in the love tournaments. As long as WhiteRa can do his special tactics, he can be creative and do things on the fly. He's really good. That's what he excels at.
But what's also so cool about Heart of the Swarm and seeing it is that, especially in early Wings of Liberty, there was a lot of tactics, there's a lot of these multi-pronged attacks people didn't know as much, and we're seeing here that in Heart of the Swarm, it doesn't look like temporary tactical engagements. Or excuse me, it doesn't look like temporary tactical engagements will be standard in the metagame. I'm not making any sense. I'm going to try again.
I'm really trying hard to that I understand
I'm trying hard to figure out
how
to get this thought out of my brain.
I'm just like nodding, like, I get it.
Yeah.
I have no
You're
idea
a very supportive co-caster. Thank you, Rotterdam. But in the early stages of Wings of Liberty, there were these all over the place crazy attacks, but it sort of converged back to this macro big army style play, unless you're Liquid Hero. And then we're looking at Heart of Swarm, and it very much so looks like the Oracle is always going to be a viable tactical unit. WhiteRa's playstyle, I think, is going to just shine for much longer than than 1 month.
I think certainly in PvZ, yeah, you did make a little bit of sense at the end there, Sean. Good job. You got out of it.
No, if you'd like to see me ramble unclearly 5 days a week, just head to Day9 TV. Crazy.
I think the coolest thing is that we barely saw. WhiteRa actually did not make a robotics facility in this entire best of 5. Like, how crazy is that? He didn't need the observers because there are so many more ways for Protoss to get detection, and that's something that really excites me. We don't have to get a robo every single game. Of course, we still can. Colossus are still going to be awesome. Immortals will always be good units, and observers are still an awesome thing to have. But you don't have to, and that's something that's really awesome. And I think that Blizzard has done a really good job so far at it. And I also think they're doing a really good job with the Oracle. I wouldn't change it.
Guys, let's throw on over to Zoe and Clutch to talk about that series.
Thank you very much, guys. That was just awesome. Seriously, if there would be anything which didn't look like a match on Daybreak, that would have been that game. And that use of the Tempest and Oracles, it basically showed us everything there is, right? And that like quick openings with the Mothership core, I was in awe with that play by WhiteRa.
WhiteRa has studied his race when it comes to Heart of the Swarm, and he executed some really great play style and showed the power of the Protoss Air now in Heart of the Swarm. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Tempest. This is a capital ship coming out of the starport. And this is such a crucial engagement because of the map positioning here by WhiteRa. He keeps his distance away from the Hydralisk as Rhett tries to move in position to take down his production facilities. His Tempests are just far enough that the Hydralisk cannot fully engage, and he'll try to move some of them back as they continue to fight here. As he moves back, he has won this engagement. WhiteRa knows he cannot do anything, and those Swarm hosts can't do anything against air. WhiteRa has the composition he needs to completely take down Rhett, and we saw him also use the recall ability, which to me reminds me of the Arbiter from Brood War, and have carriers once again in an engagement is so exciting to see because so many people have been wanting to see carriers, and the internet convinced Blizzard pretty much like, guys, you can't take carriers out of the game. And so Blizzard's been hard at work to try to find where carriers were fit, and we really saw the DPS damage necessary and also the units that were necessary to allow WhiteRa to stay alive and have a serious army composition to tech up to carriers. Protoss looks really, really good in Heart of the Swarm, as well as Zerg and Terran. Rhett tried to use those Swarm hosts over and over again, but you just could not find the place to use them because WhiteRa went air. I am so excited to see more and more of the game develop and these players execute such different playstyles from what we've seen in Wings of Liberty.
Definitely. It's going to be so interesting to see how the whole game will unfold and evolve over the time after it comes out, and even now in the beta. And like maps are going to make such a big difference once more if there is like such a big range with those Tempests. I mean, like abusing the architecture of the maps is going to be very interesting to see. So, but we have more action coming up for you guys. And of course, that's going to be the free-for-all. And that's why we give it over back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Zoe. Huge congrats once again to WhiteRa, who played magnificently in that series.
And I think, Sean, that he's with us.
WhiteRa, come in, WhiteRa, are you there?
Hello, hello. Everyone.
Hello.
WhiteRa. WhiteRa, the crowd found your play satisfactory. Tell us a little bit about that awesome sky toss style that you were using throughout that series.
I just played some days ago versus Hydra, and he beat me many times when I used old strategy with ground army, and experience told me what if I want to win this series, I need to make something new. What nobody not used before, and I try use in different strategy, different game like fast DT, and of course my bet will be on Protoss Air because now it looks like very amazing Oracle and WhiteRa's combination. If Zerg make Mutalisk, if I have to Stargate, I can change my build orders and building Mass Phoenix. So it's I think pretty safe build orders, and WhiteRa can help you with mass roaches and Hydra. You just make many sentries, stalkers, and WhiteRa. So it's, I think, very good Protoss Air right now.
I would certainly agree with you, WhiteRa. And I also want to ask about game number 1, where you opened up with this fast Dark Templar opening and took a stupidly fast third base. I mean, what are your ground-based strategies feeling like in Heart of the Swarm?
You know, my plan it will be a little bit harass red and same time building third base. But he find my probe and not let me make very fast pylon near his base. And after we transition on macro game, but when coming swarm host, I not be ready for a lot of swarm host. And he used very smart move. He kill my observer and my core with corruptors and have some overseer. So it will be, I understand what I lose third base because I not have army protect a lot of swarm host and destroy his corruptors because all times he can killing my observer. So it's only one decision, hide 2 Stargate and waiting like 4 or 5 Voyages and kill first corruptor and after try kill swarm host. But same time, I understand if I kill army, Zerg army, it's not enough because he still have a lot of base, a lot of workers, and I make very great job. I kill a lot of workers with 1 Oracle and some DT help me harass red. And finally, I won this game, but I think red deserve more win first game. It's my opinion.
I really enjoyed the game, WhiteRa, and lately I would say over the last 2-3 months you've been quite vocal about the state of Protoss versus Zerg. On the Wings of Liberty you said several times you didn't really enjoy it, some things bothered you. Are you much more happy with how Protoss versus Zerg is looking in Heart of the Swarm?
Yeah, now it's I'm more happy because so many ways Protoss strategy. You can attack very early your opponent with core. Anytime you can save your army if get in trap. You can use air units. You can use rush DT. So many strategy. And now it's not too boring when Zerg building only Infestor and Brute Lords and kill any Protoss army. Now it's be more easy because you have Tempest and can snipering anything.
Okay. Sounds awesome. I also had another question. Obviously, Red is a Zerg player, and we only have 100 Swarm ShowMatch so far. But did you also play against Terran some? And what are your thoughts about all the Terran changes? Because I think perhaps of all 3 ranges, like Terran got a lot of changes in the most recent patch.
Yeah, now it's most changes what I not expect. It's very fast, how fast fly Medivacs. Even I see in middle with map comment Medivac. I not have time when back my army from expand to natural because Medivacs like fly around map so quickly and it's very unbelievable speed now on this Medivac. And of course, Terran is now I think very strong race because so many new buff they get. But one what I not like it's when Terran make upgrades in armory on ground units, he automatically get upgrades on air, and it's I think a little bit not fair. But in total, I agree with a lot of changes and need Terran make a little bit better.
Okay, thank you very much, WhiteRa.
I actually have one last question for you, WhiteRa.
Yeah, Sean, of course.
How do Oracles feel against Terran?
It's feel good, but only if Mariners not waiting you. If Terran make only 1 turrets, of course, Oracle didn't work so well. So you need to figure out how better use Oracle. But seems Oracle now pretty useful units. You can use in PvP and PvZ, of course, and PvT. If Terran these units didn't inspect, you so fast can kill like several SCV, like 5-10 SCV, and save you Oracle. So it's be really exciting to use more this unit in future games.
We're excited to see that, Alexei. Thank you so much, WhiteRa. Congrats again on that incredible performance.